First of all, my name is Nurul Faraain binti Pagar Sunusi from JBA 2425B. Okay. In this video, I want to present about my topic, which is that known as development efforts and public sector corruptions in Malaysia in terms of the issues and challenges. Before we start, do you know what means by corruptions, or have you heard about corruptions in Malaysia or in other countries? Corruption is the use of a public sector for private gain. In the other words, known as the abuse of power or for private benefit by those occurrence. Okay. In this statement, it can be concluded that corruption cannot be exist in any sector, whether public or private sector. Furthermore, corruption usually offers not only giving an advantage to one party but other party, including family, friends, and client as well. Generally, corruption can be classified into grand corruption, petty corruption, and state capture. On the other hand, public sector corruption also can categorize in terms of bribery, extortions, embezzlements, fraud, nepotism, and conflict of interest. As well is known as corruption is one of the most notorious crimes in every country, including Malaysia. Corruption known as a phenomenon that can be committed by anyone, including the upper class, public sector, private, and others. Okay. Nowadays, corruption issues is no longer a major problem in Malaysia, that proven by the Transparency International Corruption Perceptions Index, known as CPI. From this, Malaysia has improved its CPI in 2019, where it got the 10 places compared in 2018, which is ranking on 51 among the countries. In January 2020, Dr. Mahathir claims that there is still corruption occurs in Malaysia, and the government trying to eliminate it. This can be seen that the corruption issue is one of the problems that we can banish it in the short term because it's no regional or national boundaries. It requires an efficient and systematic strategy in order to be effectively avoided. The government has created a variety of tools and efforts to prevent this corrupt activity, especially among the public sectors. Corruption in the public sector whether actual or perceived, has a major effect on the perceptions in their reputation, reliability, honesty, legitimacy, and integrity of the governments. Its added administrative structure as well as the standard of the system of government. Okay. Therefore, in this study, it is described the efforts of and challenges facing in terms of preventions of corruptions in the public sector, that in the context of the implementation, monitoring and evaluation of development project and programs.
Malaysia has jumped 10 spots to 51st from last year's 61st place in the Transparency International Corruption Perception Index (CPI). Transparency International Malaysia President Dr. Muhammad Mohan told the press conference on Thursday, January 23, that the survey, which involved 180 countries, said the improvement was due to the new government's measures in combating graft. He said, among others, Malaysia scored points due to prompt action against scandals involving One Malaysia Development Berhad, SRC International Berhad, Federal Land Development Authority FELDA, and Tabung Haji, as well as greater media freedom.
In the public sector relates to the use or misuse of powers given to a public officer by a public sector for his or her own advantage in gain. It can be seen that a public sector have the responsible in terms of planning, execution, supervision, and evaluation on any projects or programs. Okay. Governments was trying to develop many programs of the administrative machinery, like the Ministerial Action Committee, MEC, the Economic Planning Unit (EPU), the State Action Council (SAC), and many more. Not only that, the Monitoring and Evaluation (M&E) framework that already been modified on a regular basis. This is intended to promote a structure and organized approach that in terms of community development, whether horizontally and vertically, through state, local, government and federal, as well as between intra and intergovernmental agencies. Okay. Besides, the government also has developed a project monitoring system as tool that allows the monitoring of plans and projects conducted by the public sector in terms of various stages involved, such as start from the submissions of the proposal to the acceptance, followed by the midterm implementations and evaluation, and reach to the conclusions. This is because government want to sustain efforts to improve the performance, responsiveness, accountability, and achievement of development projects by the public sectors, the aims of the initiatives and the desired effects in terms of new system of M&E. Thus, the performance of the development projects and programs implemented can be controlled in a comprehensive and timely manner, and any deficiencies of issues found can be resolved by the person responsible at the corresponding stages of the occurrence, without the existence of unethical behavior among the public sectors. In addition, if the government do not strive to monitor all the movements performed by public sector, they can carry out their responsibility with any element corruption in a project. This can be seen that corruption can happen with the lack of proper transparency. Okay? If there is no proper transparency, the public official would be more unethical. Based on this article, one of the issues highlighted that there are various complex corruptions simultaneously exist in the public sector. Okay? The existence of various types of corruptions that can occur simultaneously due to the diversity of roles and governance that have different opinions in the implementations and development of a project. Okay, for example, the involvement of many parties, whether from the public or private sector, make it difficult for the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commissions, known as MACC, to detect corrupt activities that carry out, such as committing corrupt activities secretly through public website. Okay. Next, there is a major gap between the MACC arrest number and the convict list of a public sectors. This is because a large number of them have been arrested, but ultimately they have not been identified as criminal. Okay, so this forced the authorities to work hard to perform the investigations properly, so that all those arrested could be tried for the crimes committed. Okay. Thirdly, the issue of behavior that lack of compliance and violence processes and procedure, as well as the legislation and rules occurs by the public sector, eventually make the P&E framework become not comprehensive and unsuccessful. It can be seen that the Auditor General, known as AG, stated that the same problems still occur, such as haphazard and poor planning, incompleted and outdated data, insufficient knowledge and expertise in project management during that period. This can be proven by although the public sector complies with the current M&E system as well as the international standard that have goal which achieving the optimum positive effects for the main target group of beneficiaries using minimum of cost, still not achieved successfully. Okay. Last but not least, the stature of discretionary regulations, which are weak and irrelevant, that is one of the issues that and challenges facing by them. Okay. On the basis of above debate that the public sector corruption, known as PSD, has formulated a variety of alternatives to address the problems, common problems to the Auditor General in the structure of its judgment, which affects the nature of discretionary regulation. This can be related to a number which 1,408 of public sector who have been detained from a total of 3,533 from 2011 to 2014. However, 63 of those who have been successfully released without prosecution, even though they were said that to be involved in corruption crimes. Thus, it can be seen that the judgment system carried out against the public sector accountability is not strict and systematic, which can lead to the occurrence of the unethical behavior. The PSD is involved in this issue since the PSD is responsible for formulating and enforcing the appointment, promotion and discipline of the public sectors. Okay. Then, if the number of public sectors involved in these corruption problems increases, it will give a bad image to the PSD as well as the public sector in general, because does not control it effectively. This is one of the hot issues and in Malaysia. Okay, corruption in the public sector, as we can see from this article, is the outcome of certain developments. Then there are some recommendations to reduce the number of corruption among the public sector. And foremost, issues and improve the accountability in the context of implementations, monitoring, and evaluations of development projects and programs. If the accountability is carried out effectively, it will help reduce the amount of corruptions among the public sector from time to time. Accountability also helps any development can be carried out easily. The government should be aware that data of the Index for Freedom and Watchdog Office to monitor internal and external accountability of public sectors. In addition, existing ethics behaviors among the public superior. With the practice of strong ethics in the public superior, it will be emulated by public officials and the possibility of corruption be eliminated without imposing a punishment. For example, superiors need to be fair in the distributions of powers, salaries, and also benefits according to their performance. A fair system can be provided satisfactions to all parties while minimizing corrupt activities. Corruption, known as a mechanism that generally can be found over the world, same goes it is also serious issue in developed countries that have fragile economy. Besides, corruption is just like a nation virus that determines detrimental to the operating system process and can destroy the social and economic of a country. Therefore, the issues of the corruptions in terms of the implementations, monitoring and evaluations of a development project and programs that it is important to be handled in effective and efficient way so as not to be widespread and affect the public trust in the public sector. Regulations governing the discipline and actions of public sector must be followed in accordance with their spirits so they do not feel a burden. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.